Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Mira Desyanti, and today I'm going to talk about something that is super important when it comes to understanding different languages and culture. It is about planning translation critique and the purpose and the benefits of translation. Now, have you ever read a book that was originally written in another language? Or maybe you've watched a movie with subtitles and thought, that doesn't sound quite right. Well, that's exactly why translation critique is important. It helps us evaluate translation and see if they actually make sense in the target language. So in this presentation, I'm going to walk you through how we analyze a translation, why translation matters and how it benefits us in everyday life. So let's get started. So the first is planning translation critique. Alright, so when we critique a translation, we're not just looking at whether the words are correct or not, but we're actually analyzing how well the meaning, the tone, and cultural context are conveyed. And according to Peter Newmark, there are five key aspects to consider when evaluating a translation. The first is we need to really understand the source language text. Who is it for? What's the main purpose? Is it a formal document or a poem or maybe an advertisement? And knowing these things helps us figure out what the translation should aim for. And then the second is translation interpretation. So every translator makes choices. Some stick closely to the original words, while the other translator focus more on making the text sound natural in the target language. So we ask, did the translator stay faithful to the original meaning? Or did they adapt it to fit the cultural of the target audience? Well, let's just move to the next point, comparison with the original. This is where we check if anything got lost or maybe even added in translation. Did the meaning, the tone, or even the style change significantly? And sometimes a joke that works in one language doesn't translate well into another. So the translator might need to get creative. And then the fourth is evaluation. Here we look at the accuracy in two ways. The first is a referential accuracy. Is the information correct? Are the facts properly translated? And then the second is pragmatic accuracy. Does the translation actually make sense for the people reading it? And sometimes, even if something is technically correct, it might sound weird or unnatural in the target language. And then the last is cultural impact. So we think about how the translation affect the target culture. Does it respect the cultural differences? Does it keep the same impact as the original? And this is super important in things like literature, marketing, and legal text, where the small changes can make a huge difference. And then next, the purpose of translation. Now let's talk about why translation exists in the first place. So a lot of people think translation is just about finding word for word equivalence, but actually, different texts have different purposes. This is where the Scopus theory, developed by Hans Fermer, comes in. And according to this theory, the way we translate something depends on its purpose. Let's look at some example. If we're translating a legal document, we need to be super precise and formal. If we're translating an ad or marketing content, we need to make sure it fits the culture of the target audience. And if it's a literary work, like a novel or a poem, we might focus more on capturing the emotions rather than translating word for word. So, a great example of this, for example, a children's literature. According to a study by Herrick, 2022, when translating children's book, the rhythm, the pauses, and even word choices need to be adjusted so that the story remains engaging. That's why some translated books sound different from the original because they adapted to make sense for the new audience. And then next is the historical role of translation. So translation isn't just important today, it has actually been shaping human history for centuries. So let's look at some key moments. In the ancient Greece and Rome, the philosophers like Plato and Aristotle had their works translated, which influenced scholars all over the world. Without translation, a lot of ancient knowledge wouldn't have been passed down. And then in the Islamic Golden Age, during this time, Arabic scholars translated Greek scientific and philosophical texts, preserving knowledge that may have otherwise been lost. And then the modern time, today, translation plays a huge role in globalization. It allows businesses to expand, researchers to collaborate, and people to enjoy books, movies, and music from different cultures. Yeah, basically, without translation, we'd be stuck in our own language bubbles, unable us to learn from another culture or share ideas. And the next is the benefits of transition. Let's talk about how transition actually benefits us in daily life. The first is it acts as a cultural bridge. So language is deeply tied to the culture, and translation allows different cultures to connect. And according to Manikar 2022, translation is what makes cultural exchange possible. So yeah, thanks to translation, we can enjoy foreign literature, music, films, and even cuisine. The second benefit is it enhances knowledge transfer. So according to New Pen 2022, translation gives us access to what we call treasure house of knowledge. Scientific discoveries, historical texts, classic literature, are all available worldwide because of translation. So, imagine if medical research was only available in one language. Translation makes it possible for the doctors and scientists to share knowledge globally. And then the third benefits, it supports language learning. So translation is actually a great teaching tool. It helps the students understand sentence structures and expand their vocabulary and develop multilingual skills. And according to New Pen again, 2022, translation is especially useful for English language teaching. So yeah, whether it's for education, for entertainment, or global communication, translation is essential in helping us connect and grow. And then, yeah, alright, to wrap things up, translation is so much more than just swapping words from one language to another. It has a purpose, which depends on the text's goal. It plays a huge role in history, culture, and education. And it allows people all over the world to learn, communicate, and understand each other. So next time you read a translated book or maybe watch a movie with subtitles, remember that there's a whole process behind it to make sure you get the right meaning, you get the right feeling from the original language. And yeah, that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.